Welcome to Dear Alice, a lifestyle approach to interior design.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dear Alice. We are talking about refreshing the exterior of homes today. We had a really good listener question come in, and thank you for sending those in. You guys send them into dearalice@alicelanehome.com, and this one was so good we had to do a full episode on it, and I think it's going to really answer the call for a lot of you working on summer projects. Speaking of summer projects, what are you guys working on this summer? Your yards, your homes, your projects, what's happening?
For sure, I was inspired by when we had Nyman on the podcast.
Oh, yeah, Becky, yes.
Becky. And so, like, even pre-Mother's Day, I went ahead and I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and risk this, and I'm going to do my planters because it sounded like so much fun.
I did.
Couldn't wait.
I couldn't wait.
I did the exact same thing.
Did you?
I
know, we're
so
reckless.
Excited.
We're freaking reckless. So, yeah, I did, like, new, like, planters and pots, and it's, like, so happy. Like, I love walking up to my door now, and it's just, things are growing and surviving and totally not dying. So that's awesome. Summer projects will probably just be like still, I have my honeysuckle that I planted last year, and like my entry is like blooming so well. And so I'm going to create like this arbor and try and make it go up and over. So when you walk through honeysuckle.
That sounds amazing.
Doorway. So I'm going to be working on that.
It's going to smell so
a little bit this weekend.
Fragrant.
I'm going to be trying to figure out how I'm going to jimmy rig this.
I like that.
So I'll probably go to Becky at the Sun River.
Yeah. And you're going to
do it.
Craft yourself, and
I'll
build you a rainbow.
Exactly. Precisely.
Keep going.
Are you gonna do it in a rainbow formation?
I would like to. I actually have.
I'm gonna sing it every time I come over.
Okay. I have regular honeysuckle, and then they also have pink lemonade honeysuckle. So I have one that's pink.
Oh.
Wait till that blooms.
I can't wait.
Oh, and the linden tree is in full bloom. So we are just like. We are just
Summer's the best.
Suzanne,
I don't like my house that much, but man, do I love my tree.
Yeah, you do. Suzanne bought it for the tree.
We bought it for the tree
and the
barn.
Full acre of land.
Yeah, that's it.
You can always tear a house down. It's hard to put a 40-year-old tree in.
Thank
you know.
Yeah. It's true.
Good.
No, it's one of those things. Like other people have like big cars and things. I'm like, I walk down the street and I'm like, that's my tree. See that linden? See the bees buzzing up there?
Yep.
A nest fell down the other day and it was so beautiful. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
Birds were feeling so safe.
You should put that in the delicate collection for
find.
Manolo.
There we go.
You would just rip it up.
Those of you who haven't been here for very long, my husband, Adam Bennett, was a really reckless, very hard child as a boy. That his mom made him make a delicate collection in a shoebox of all the delicate things. And so he had a bird's nest in it and feathers and half of an egg and things that he had to learn how to be delicate and not crush. And then his mom made him display it in the public library.
That's so cute.
You're welcome for that story. Cori, what are you working on this year? Are you working on your own delicate collection?
I'm working with some delicate things.
Yes, tell us.
That's utilities and stuff. And I mean, I could just go on and
Corey's
on.
building a second home in a ski town called Bryan Head.
Yes.
And it is his project du jour, project due 2 years.
Yeah.
Annual.
What I did, we have like mood boards at Alice Lane at our desks, and I took a picture of my plans and I put it right in front of me, print out huge picture, and I put October 2025, and I was like, that's when I'm going to look at it every single day, and that's when I'm going to finish this thing. So I'm kind of just putting it out there. Yeah, I'm putting it out there in the universe. That's when I'm going to do it.
It's going to happen.
Leo.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
exactly.
I love it.
Yes.
But that's so I'm working on that project. But also, in a fairly recent episode that we did, we talked about like rearranging furniture and stuff.
Yes.
There's some new furniture I want to buy, so I want to sell some of that and rearrange. Maybe possibly like figure out a way to orient my bed in my room differently.
Yeah, you are.
I might have to put it in front of a window.
The furniture.
But then you're going to get really pretty window treatments. It's going to feel like it's floating.
Exactly.
It's going to feel like a 4-poster bed.
And that's the goal.
You're so romantic.
You know when you like just, I don't know, when you rearrange furniture, you walk in, you're like, this is, we bought a new house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I want.
Placed it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk more into that and we'll see how it goes. So that's
Yeah.
probably
Mari,
more
you're
the
gonna
project
love
than
it.
anything.
I
Yeah.
think that you're just gonna do it because you're the muscles of this operation.
Yes.
Just
And I'm going to say, you know what?
Bedroom-
Jess and Sue said that we should.
I
bedroom
know.
surprise.
We
Yeah.
said it on the podcast to all of our listeners. They all
If
concur.
Mari's listening to this one now, she knows my secret. I just have to say
Oh.
you guys said to do it, and then
You know what? We're gonna sketch it up for you.
Okay,
So we
perfect.
actually are involved.
Again, tangent. Do you remember that time that we went over to my sister's house for, like, it was at the beginning of Alice Lane, and we're like, we need to get some sales. And so we went ahead and like took a whole new bedroom set to my sister's house.
And just surprised her. And
Do
she
you remember that?
didn't Will was okay.
But
with
yeah,
it.
Will was okay. Yeah, money bags.
Suzanne's brother-in-law, we call money bags, and he
Option
always
A is
yeah.
what we call him.
yeah, he always likes the very best option in every packet. And so we call him option A because when we present, we show option A, which is our favorite first choice for the room. And then we have alternates depending on, price point and budget if they want to see a high, low, da-da-da-da. But he always chooses option A, which we love.
It was so fun because you and I think it was for Valentine's Day, and he was out of town because he always travels for work. And he's like, we need a new bed. And so we're like, you got it. So like we just rolled in while Katie was at work, and we installed a whole new. We could do that for
Bedroom
Mari.
surprise.
Bedroom surprise.
It's
Just
the
do a
best
new
kind
one.
of surprise. It's way better than trying to figure out what's for
know.
dinner with 2 cans in the pantry.
Yeah, you can't say no if it's already
Dinner
happened.
surprise
Oh,
is the worst.
exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
No, you're welcome,
for
Mari.
sure.
Be
For
fun.
sure.
'Kay.
Well, my project this summer is I am painting my house,
It's
guys.
happening.
It's happening.
Sounds like
The-
a lot of fun.
The painter has showed up. So by painting my house, I have cedar shakes on my house, real cedar, and the cedar color is now showing through the Hamptons gray color that they were originally born as. And while I was looking at that and saying, man, I can really, like, my house is like fully rust on the one elevation where the sun hits it the most, but then not on the others. So I was like, it's time. It's been 10 years. So let's go ahead and get the painter out here, get a bid. And while we're at it, let's repaint the front door. So I've taken this to Instagram. Some of you have really weighed in on this, and I thank you. I was trying to decide if I'm staying with my navy, it's like almost black. It's so dark. Do I stay with my blackish navy door, or do I do a new color? Because I'm in a mood. And the color is kind of this Hermesy orange, this really dark, kind of leathery, beautiful cognac color. And those people that voted on my Instagram story are so passionate about the orange. I will tell you, I have higher numbers. Everybody thinks I should do the blue again. Less numbers for the orange. But the orange people are actually DMing me. They're not just voting.
Oh.
And they're egging me on. And then this one over here, Sue Hall, is just like, I would actually be disappointed in you if you didn't do the orange. And I was like, I think I have to, because even though there's more voters for blue, the passion for orange is so strong. I also want to point out, I already have the blue paint mixed up. The painter came. We ripped some of the paint off the door. I can't find it in the paint deck. I have no idea what color I chose. So he just pulled some off the door and he went and shot it and color matched it.
Mm-hmm.
So I already have the blue paint. So I'm going to be swimming upstream, going against the grain to do the orange door. But I'm like 99% sure I'm going orange now.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm
100%.
repainting all the shakes gray. So I'm excited.
I feel like you would regret it if you didn't do the orange.
I know.
We
I
know
feel
what
like
that navy cookie tastes like. We know what it tastes like.
I know.
Variety is the spice of life.
I also OD'd on
Boom.
navy blue. 'Cause have you guys seen the new store? It's covered in navy. Also embarrassing. I have a navy car. So I just can't anymore. I hate myself.
And that's
And
in your
navy's been
DNA.
my
We
favorite
always love
color,
it.
and now
Yeah.
I'm like sick of my favorite color. I did it too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What took Sophie
I
to say
navied
that?
too hard.
It's
you
actually
know,
not navy.
It's
That's
so funny.
actually
It's
beautiful.
It's like cobalt.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
But
Yes.
yeah. I just, yeah. So I'm painting my house this summer.
She's gonna paint an orange door.
Yes.
I'm so excited to see
excited.
Yes.
Just the door, not the side lights and everything you're
I'm
saying.
getting the side lights and everything repainted. It's just White Dove by Ben Moore. So we're repainting those same color just to freshen it up. I have a little puppy that scratches between the door and the side lights where the white is. And so we've got.
Are you
claw
keeping all the
marks.
cool hardware that you have and stuff like
Yeah.
on your door?
Yeah.
It's going to
And
be
you
so
know
awesome.
what else you have?
Cute,
You
yeah.
have some amber jewels in your art glass.
I do.
You sure do, and that's just gonna pull right from that Hermes orange.
I know. It's going to be
Case in
cute,
point, proof
right?
positive. It should be orange.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so cute.
This is my insecurity, that when the cedar shakes start showing age, then the cedar comes through. And
Gonna
then
pull
it's,
the orange out of that.
yes.
Paint the
And then the
door.
front door is orange. And I just feel like the door is going to pull the orange out in the year. So I'm just going to have to paint the door or paint my house more frequently, or maybe it'll look great. Maybe they'll all relate to each other.
Let me
I
say
think
this.
they'll talk to each other.
Yeah.
Save that guy's number who's painting it. If he does a good job, with his bid, you could have him do it every year. And
have
you're
him
gonna
on
be fine.
retainer. Yeah. We'll just
So
keep
fun.
painting the
We
house.
can
It's like the Brooklyn Bridge.
We can have a couple
Exactly.
of doors that we rotate between.
I know, wouldn't that be fun for holiday? Have a red door on my gray shake
Yep.
house. Love.
Okay.
Love it.
So excited for summer.
I know.
Can't wait to show you.
Should we jump in?
Let's do it.
Let's
Okay.
do it. Exteriors.
The question today came from Mallory Williams. She asks, we are about to embark on an exterior update / garage addition on our 1960s home in Houston, Texas. My question is, are there any new trends you are seeing with exteriors besides the all-white / off-white painting brick? It seems like this is the only exterior option that people are updating their homes with right now.
Okay.
I
Such
agree.
a good question.
Yeah.
This is a good question, Mallory.
Okay. And actually, we just barely got hired by a client that lives in a gated community here in Utah. Beautiful gated community. Anyway, they recently commissioned us to put together kind of like new paint colors, because before it was supposed to feel like this community was very like European, but everybody coming in now, like, and it's a 20-year-old community, wants to have like a brighter, fresher house and not have it be brown. And so they brought us in to kind of like reinvent the wheel a little bit, still feel European, still feel authentic, but what's a way to get people excited, that we're giving better options than mustard and brown, right?
Yes. So we put together a new exteriors package for the whole community. And again, this is European, but I think these principles are universal.
Yeah.
And so we're going to share a little bit about what we did to freshen up these 20-year-old houses and make them feel brighter, fresher, and I think just more universally loved. I can't wait.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be anything that will timestamp it to this day and age, just because if you really think about the architecture, so you're in a 1960s home, and I think you said it was brick, right? Okay, so like you really have to kind of just like lean a little bit into when it was built. Doesn't mean you have to paint it what it was, or it's not going to be the same color brick that it was at all. But it doesn't mean that you have to go bright white, because that is for sure a trend. So like for this European community, like nothing's bright white. Everything is more toned down, and it does feel earthy, and all the stones feel really, really authentic. And so those are the things that we're going to talk about today. Is just like overall just authenticity, not a trend. Think about you. Think about when your house was built and what you're drawn to. And those are, I think, the qualities that we want to kind of really dive into, and how to apply these finishes, whether it's brick, stucco, stone, siding, any of those things. They can all be refreshed, but just don't do it in white. Don't get me wrong. If you look at my Pinterest board, I have a lot of beautiful lighthouses, but there's some authentic like twist to them where it makes them feel really special and not like circa 2023.
Yeah,
when everything was sprayed white.
definitely.
I also feel like the homes that are being painted white are not like the home you would expect to be white. Like when I think of a white home, I'm thinking, lap siding, like very traditional lap siding, like shutters,
Colonial.
like that. Yeah, like colonial style. And this is just like, oh, we have a 2002 stucco, like very wooded beam thing. We're just going to spray the whole thing white. And that's like that.
The white farmhouse.
The
big chunky
the white
windows.
Tuscan farmhouse.
Yeah,
What the heck? Yeah. So that's
Houston. We're feeling it here in Utah. It's everywhere.
Yeah,
it's a nationwide thing
for sure. So let's take this down. The our exterior tips. Let's start with stone, and then we'll move on to stucco, siding, brick, and then the trim.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the stone,
if you're lucky to have stone on your house, like lucky you already have some like natural elements that are pulling, kind of giving you some direction.
Also, masonry is always, I think, a superior product, whether it be brick or stone. They're more expensive than doing siding or stucco. So it's great. And it's probably on the foundation of the home is usually where they're using the brick. Sometimes the whole home can be brick, but usually you're going to have masonry around the bottom. And so if you are lucky enough to have real stone, then I think we lean into that. If you have faux stone, that is something that I would consider seriously in the updating of it, unless you like the look of it. But I can always tell when I look at it, it's just a little bit...
It's flatter.
hollow.
It's not irregular enough. It's too formulaic.
Formulaic.
Yeah, that's a good word.
And the colors, I feel like, just feel a little bit drab. And I think it's going to be hard working an entire remodel around the faux stone. So my original thought was, what if we pull the faux stone off and replace it with real stone? And I talked to my friend who does exteriors for a living, and he said, you can only do that if your foundation wall extends far enough and can hold the load of real stone. And so you're going to want to just consult your builder on this.
Yeah, the city that you live in should have the engineered plans from whenever that home was built, unless it was like 1920 or something forever ago.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, they will be able to assess the load that is currently on that foundation and if you can apply more to it. So there's a little bit of digging that needs to go into it, but also there are ways to re-engineer the foundation that can support that as well. So you have to go a little bit deeper. It's not just like throw up some real stone. There's some thought behind it, but it definitely is possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with the stone too, a lot of times with the faux stone and a lot of these communities and like that feel dated very quickly, they have like, it's like a stone veneer. That's just like, it's a sticker on the front and it goes like 2 feet on the sides and then it all goes to stucco. And I'm like, always just like, it makes me so mad at those developers for being so naughty and not just taking it all the way around. It's like cheapens it so quickly. The second it's new is the second it's old. Like it just sucks, right? And so if you can, while you're really digging into this, if you're going to even consider real stone, which we would tell you to do, see what the option is to take it all the way around, just so you have that value. It's a real perceived value, one way or the other. It's going to look cheap or it's going to look great.
Yeah.
So
it's not the mullet. It's not just the
not a sticker party in the front.
It's only a party in the front. We want the party all the way around the house.
The thing I don't understand about that is like, so the face of your home, the reason they do that 2 feet back is just like, because we just don't want it to end on the corner. It's like,
let's end 2 feet in.
Yeah, might even be worse.
It is.
Like then it's like, hey, I'm lying to you.
It's like the house has training wheels.
Yeah,
these little tiny things on the sides.
It's like, what's the point of that? It's just like, got ya. Like, I don't know why.
It's just a dumb developer with a bad idea, and they keep doing it. If you're listening to this dumb developer's wife, like, don't do it anymore. It's just the absolute worst.
Yeah. Let's do better.
Yeah, do better. Let's be better.
Stop lying to people.
Yes.
Okay.
One of the things that we love on an update with stone is we love what's called the overgrout.
Yeah,
we've heard some people call it something that I'm not even going to say.
I'll say it. German schmear. Yeah.
I just think we should call it an overgrout. Yeah. Also, what it is, but German schmear, I feel like you feel kind of stupid. You're like, let me Google that real quick. It sounds like something you should do to a bagel.
I was just going to say that. Yeah. I've always known it as like something is that Einstein's? Yeah. It's like you put on a bagel.
Only Einsteins should be schmearing things.
I'm not going to treat my house like a bagel.
Exactly. So can we all call it the overgrout? But if you want to know some search terms so that you can look up what this looks like, see if it would be a good fit for your home. This is something that people do to stone. I think they also do this to brick, but I think the brick looks like raw hamburger when they do it because it takes a warm brick and then you put the grout over the top and you still have some peeking through and it's like a fake theatrical set.
Yeah, and you're like, I know you're from the 60s, not the 1800s, so you should be more uniform than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't feel splotchy. It just feels like a bad tan application.
So I really only want to talk about the overgrout on stone.
Yeah.
And we're talking about stone right now. So I love this so much. And I love this for the European community that we just helped with their new CC&Rs. We're going to show you some examples. If you guys happen to be watching on YouTube, you can see them here. Otherwise, I want you guys to Google the overgrout or Google German schmear on stone. This is such a gorgeous update. It gives this sort of wall of stone look. And here's what's so great about it. It neutralizes the stone and brings it to this more sort of taupey palette, if you will. You're not getting your light and bright house. You're still boasting that you have real stone, and you're getting this cobbled look, and it is just so stunning. Yeah. I love it.
And it still feels dimensional, but what it is they fill in like all the gaps and everything with more of that mortar. And so it just like brings it all to the surface. And I like what you said about it just feeling a little bit more solid because honestly, I think the most expensive homes have fewer materials. Like it's solid, you know, it's rock.
It's
It has
not
like,
tricky.
It has like 2, maybe 3 materials at most. If you get more than that, then it just, again, it looks theatrical and it looks cheap. So anyway, this like really does give it like this uniform, but there's still dimension to it because it is real stone. And on your actual mortar color, you're going to go something that just feels really natural. Don't go too bright white. We've done this a lot on like mantles and stuff on the interior application. They haven't necessarily done it on the exterior yet, but it is something that I would consider if I had a stone home that was like really dimensional, or the ones that kind of look like acne.
Yeah.
You know, like they're just like too bumpy, that you just need to kind of give it a little bit more uniformity. And it's amazing what grout does.
Yeah.
As far as it will change the color of that pink rock or whatever that is. But don't abandon it yet. Like really do some testing and try the overgrouting to see if that's something that will kind of give you a huge facelift.
It uniforms the color.
It does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you still have the stone coming out. You still see the face of the stone, but you're just getting rid of all of the recesses and filling those with grout. And then you're getting this lighter, brighter appearance that's still organic and natural, which I think will always serve you.
Yep.
Yeah. And nobody wants to see those grout lines anyway. It just gives you more tension lines.
That's why it makes more sense in stone to me than brick, because of how you would have built that 200 years ago.
Right?
You know, you need a lot of grout to hold it in because they're not perfect rectangles.
Yeah, I remember I was like 13 and we went on a trip to Virginia, and like we went on these old tours of all these historic spaces, and you saw these like halves of buildings. There were all the foundation. Same with Scotland. They have all these foundational stone where the grout is coming up to the surface
of the stone
of everything. And so there's something really foundational to it.
Yeah.
Where it feels solid.
Yeah.
And like you believe it. It's very, very authentic. Versus some of these other ones that are just like really, I don't know, they're just too wild.
I will say this. I'm going to just paint a picture for you. I have a home in my neighborhood that just barely went through a renovation on the exterior. Please bless they're not listening. Okay. They just re-stuccoed the exterior pretty bright white. They've left the rest of the home with the brown stone from the Tuscan era and the brown beams. I drive by it every day and I think, you should overgrout it. Just overgrout it. Because all of a sudden it would take that brown stone, but then you'd get this lighter grout pulling forward to the surface, and you'd see some of the browns that still work with the brown beams, but it's not like they're just like north and south. And there's nothing that brings them together. And the stone would be the one blending element.
It's the rug.
It is the rug that ties the room together. Yes, it actually would fix everything. And it's such a beautiful look. You can choose that grout color, but they're so close. They did such an amazing job. But I'm like, nobody would choose brown stone right now. But we could soften the appearance of that by making it 50% grout, which would be so pretty and look great with the stucco, I think. But also I think the stucco should have been considered at the same time as the grout color to make that whole thing really sing.
Yeah. Would you take so if you were going to do that and it's this stucco, are you painting the stucco or restuccoing whatever they did close to the same color as the grout?
I think that we have beautiful examples of that. So I mean, again, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see how in line that stucco is with the grout color. And it's just harmonious. Also, the landscape here is the hero. I also want to say my neighbor's house has the most extraordinary landscaping. But because the house is so contrasting, it's just kind of a food fight, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there. And if the home was more harmonious, then I think the landscape could just sing.
Yep.
Yeah. So I do think that having those values be pretty close together is really, really beautiful universally. A lot of these examples we have are less contrasting, They
blend with each other versus like being a stark contrast.
Yeah. So I mean, if you guys learn nothing today from this podcast, but just the overgrout, you are so rich in I think one of the most beautiful ideas right now on an exterior remodel. Yeah.
I agree.
I love it.
And a lot of these homes that we're looking at probably didn't necessarily do the overgrout, but just did the stone the right way the first time.
Yes.
So you're just trying to get it to that point. So it doesn't feel like a trend. It doesn't feel like something that you're doing in 2024, because people are going to do it right now, and it's going to look trendy when they do it the wrong color or they don't do it the right way.
Yeah.
Like that's when it will look trendy. But if you look historically at the overgrout and really try and identify if it's the right thing for the type of stone you have, and for your home, then you're going to win. Yeah. Because it's something that's foundational, that's been around for obviously centuries.
I love that. I also want to make a quick point that if you are updating your rock and your stucco, this is a really beautiful time to update your windows because you have to rip apart your house anyway. And so if you don't love your windows, you could, I know, give a mouse a cookie. This remodel is just getting really, really intense. But if you're going to do all of this work, then you're not going to want to rip it out later to do your windows.
There's not a better time to do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, windows, if you just want to get logical on it, I mean, if depending upon how old your home is, even 20 years ago, the efficiency and like that has progressed with windows is so awesome.
You're just going to save
Also,
money.
let me just say this too. In the newer builds that we do today, one of the biggest features that everybody wants is a lot of natural light. They didn't use great big windows in the 60s or 70s or 80s even. It wasn't something that was trending. But now I think because we all have cell phones and we like to take pictures and everything, rooms just sing when they have a lot of natural light. It also boosts our spirits. Everything looks stunning. And you get to appreciate your landscaping out the back. So I think it's a great point to enlarge the size of the window, get a more efficient window, get the color of window you want with the grids that you want. Yep. And that will change the look of the house.
The grids.
Yeah.
So that was a point we weren't planning on making, but I just had to hurry and say, while we're giving the mouse the cookie, let's just give him the whole burrito.
But let's really quickly, let's talk about like the trim and the windows. Because that is another way that we're like, for this community that we just did this whole package for, is we gave them trim colors too. Like kind of combinations for just like the actual plaster stucco color, for the stone, for the windows. Because they do still want to be tone on tone, but it's not, we see so much right now, this trend, right? Color from Houston, that it's the white house with the big black windows, and it's too contrasting. If you look historically, you see beautiful white houses with dark windows or dark houses with dark windows, and it's beautiful. But the big hiccup is the brightest white with the darkest black. The darkest black, and it's too chunky. They're too thick. And so if you are going to get new windows, the most classic thing you can do is white, bar none, end of story, period. Right?
Yep.
It's going to be white. If you are like throwing down for steel or something that has a really thin grid and you're doing wood, then you can consider the dark if it's appropriate for the house. But other than that, like I would look at white, I would look at like tones of, taupe, or like there's some really beautiful kind of greiges and even blues and greens that we've done that are really, really fun if it's right for the house. So those are the fun options that you get when you do start to do the wood, or, just where it's not just like two options of white or black.
Yeah.
For a vinyl window. So if you're so lucky to be able to do those kind of windows, like get curious about it and don't just call it in. So and pay attention to the grids, the proportions of grids. I think like there's a dead giveaway of someone who thought about the house and someone who did not.
Yes.
Or a great architect and a lame architect.
Good.
So,
Mic drop.
right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Okay.
Stone. Anything else on stone? We're going to use real stone. We're going to overgrout if we already have the real stone. And we're going to really consider the color of the stucco while we're doing that. Can we talk about stucco for a minute?
I'm so glad you asked.
So my friend that does exteriors for a living, I asked him, what are your opinions about painting stucco versus reskimming and doing new stucco on top of the stucco? And he pointed out that stucco is naturally porous, so painting over it can cause problems. It's not going to be able to breathe. It's going to be able to trap mold or moisture. Yeah. So we're seeing this a lot right now on the painting of the whole house white, where they're just painting the stucco. The difference in price is going to be quite a bit between re-stuccoing versus
probably like 2 to 3x.
Yes.
It'll
to do it the right way.
Yeah.
And just re-stucco it. Yeah. The benefit of re-stuccoing is we can. I don't know. Good. Yes, I like that. Yeah. We can fix the texture of your once Tuscan house or 70s house, or
you can smooth that out.
You can smooth it out and go with something that looks more like plaster, which is very chic.
Yes,
Also, there's a pop out situation.
Yeah, so like when your home settles, your stucco doesn't settle with it, so it kind of creates like these like little bubbles. Like if you look on a huge wall, I'm picturing my home. One huge big side of it is stucco, and it's just over 3 years old. I can already see some unevenness in it. Yeah, some pillowing, and that's what they're talking about. If they're just going to repaint it, that's going to stay there. Yeah. But if they're going to add like either remove stucco and
Yeah.
redo it, that's going to be the most expensive
Guys,
route, obviously.
It's the cellulite of stucco.
It is.
Guys. Check it out.
So what they'll do, if you're going to come over that stucco, it basically, they just float it and just make it look like it's not there.
Nice.
The other thing, like your home settles, like I just said, it's going to create cracks in some places. If you fix that without coming over the top of your entire home, you will see where they fixed that crack. So instead of having a crack, you'll just have like a, 3 or whatever their
trowel.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
trowel is, like you'll just, however thick that is, you'll just see that coming down. So it's like, oh, thanks for fixing a crack, but now I can just, see where it was.
See the line.
It's a scar, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So coming over the top of it with new stucco is going to you'll just be able to, fix a lot of the issues that have been created.
And not create future issues with moisture behind it.
Exactly.
And that sort of thing. So maybe maybe painting your stucco is a really good option if you want to hurry and fix up your home to sell it to someone else and make it look fresh and new, and then they can inherit those problems.
Or if you're in a drier, if like you're in a drier
desert.
state, we obviously get a lot of like snow and moisture, and
But maybe Arizona could get away with painting their stucco.
Probably.
Yeah,
More so than
probably.
here.
But we
The
get
back
like,
east.
I have a pretty big back patio. It's like 12 feet deep, I think. And the door that I have that's underneath that patio still gets hit with rain and water just because from coming sideways.
Drift and all
Yeah.
that.
So you can imagine like your house is going to get hit from water if you're in Utah, like from every direction. So I would suggest just doing it the right way. There are 2 homes in my neighborhood that have recently just been painted. And I'm like, man, because I was always told that was a no-no, So I was like, don't do it. But I'm like, I guess someone figured it out. I don't know. Like, we'll see what happens, though.
I think that's what they're thinking. We'll see what happens.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Rolling the dice.
They'll hurry and sell that house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Let someone else deal with it.
Yeah. I was going to say we were down in Northern California with kind of consulting on like this whole new build that we were doing. It was our team, the architectural team, everyone. And we thought it would be a great idea to just try and go around the area with the sub to understand what are we looking for. And it wasn't a stucco, it was more of a plaster look.
Mm-hmm.
And so we found a house and we talked to the subs. And we're like, how do we get this look? And he went through and it was much more of a fine sand to be able to get that plaster look instead of the really coarse, gritty sand that makes it so lumpy. And so it's probably more towards like these 2 homes that we're going to show you that feel more like a plaster. And it's texturally like, even on its own, it's beautiful. This one also has stone with it, so there's other, things going for the exterior. But if you were just stucco, I would definitely, if you have large massing of stucco, I think this is the way to go.
I think so too. Guys, if we learned nothing today from the podcast, but to overgrout and to use fine sand when we re-stucco.
Fine sand stucco.
This was worth your money today to
You're not even paying.
to pay for this podcast.
I know.
You're welcome.
This is free 99.
This is free 99. I just think this is such stellar advice.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
Even like in your area, like when your contractor's like, I don't get it. I don't know what you're talking about. Look around your area. See if there's any examples that you like. They're successful. If not, there's no examples. Look toward Pinterest or look toward this picture that we're showing you right now, screenshot it right now, and show it to your builder because that's successful and that feels a lot like, I feel like your time with that is forever, versus doing it the cheap, fast way.
And the very, very discerning people that are really trying to get this right have taken a lot of time to figure this out. And you now have this information and can workshop this with your subs. Yeah. So that's key.
I've heard it called fine sand stucco or Venetian plaster.
Okay.
Nice. So use either of those terms or both just to make sure you get the right thing. Test it on your house, sample it, and do not go bright white.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also,
and you can actually pick the paint like for this. Like there's certain
stucco.
Or
you can
we picked a paint color or whatever, and that was like their undertone that they're using. And like for this community, you can't go above a certain reflective value, and so it had to be a little bit darker. So we tested over and over and over and over. But I was so glad that they were so thoughtful to make these samples to be like, that's the one, that's it. Sorry, Cori, what were you saying?
When you apply stucco to a home, you have to have relief joints. So you'll see those lines.
Yeah.
it's my experience that there's a lot of exterior guys that will just put them wherever they would like to, or wherever it's most
Oh,
convenient.
sure.
for
They
them,
just
where they're-
freestyle on that
Yeah,
detail?
and then you'll have just a line either
Just
going
right up the
vertical
middle.
or horizontal in your
Yeah.
home.
I've seen that.
There are ways to strategically put those, but you have to either do it yourself or just consult whoever's doing your exterior and just be like, hey, I would like these to kind of like make sense.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's like where your gable sits on your exterior wall. There are just there are better places to put them than just
That's a great
haphazardly. So
choose
just pay attention
choose
to that.
those and don't
wisely.
let your sub choose them for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
if you choose a color of stucco and you say, hey, I want this color, no, it's going to be darker. 100% of the time, it's happened to me, happened to my sister-in-law. I even told her, and it happened to, and she told her guy, it happened to her. And so, yeah, we all have like different variations of the
sample
same
it.
color on our home. Yes. And maybe before you do anything, stucco first, paint
Then-
after that.
yeah.
Like, and it's a problem.
Don't paint your stucco. You're saying stucco first and then choose your paint for your trim and the
To go
other
with your
elements.
stucco,
If you have
yeah.
maybe siding or something like that.
Because I was like, here are all the colors. And nope, it didn't work out that way because what I chose
It's
didn't.
different than what you got.
Yes,
That's fun.
exactly. Yeah,
I love that.
it's great,
Yeah.
especially when you're like spending
key.
the entire money you've ever earned in your entire life. It's like, oh, it's awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
for choosing for me.
I
So.
love that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay.
Should we get into siding or brick?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Go ahead.
If you're lucky enough to have brick,
I know.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
think
love
that
brick.
about brick or rock, right? It's the masonry. It's the artisan thing to have. It's the long lasting thing. If you do not like the color of your
3
brick,
little pigs, man.
yeah.
Built a stone of bricks. It's just
Yeah.
like solid.
If you don't like your brick, you're gonna paint the brick.
Paint it.
Yeah, I
Don't
think that's
German
really the
schmear
only.
it.
Yeah, we don't love the German schmear and brick.
No.
We have a good photo of that for those of you calling in. Here you go, listener.
It feels really 90s to me when
It
when they do
it's
that.
just kind of pinky.
Yeah.
This is
Pretend.
painted
The
brick
pink
right here
90s
on
brick.
this chimney. Yeah, it's just a little bit like your house is made out of raw hamburger and it's high fat content.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
you guys can picture that right now
Yep.
that are just listening in. We don't want the look of raw hamburger on our house
That's a
by
60-40.
by
Yeah.
German schmearing our brick. I think that we're going to just paint the brick to get the look that we want of that new house. So that's where we like this idea.
Yep.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on brick? Don't German schmear. Don't even
German
say the
schmear.
word German schmear.
I think it's really fun. Like, it will be fun for you to sample. I think a lighter tone. We did a home in, I guess that was more siding. We did a dark one in Seattle, and that was really beautiful.
So pretty.
So don't be only like you have to be, 50 shades of white.
Mm-hmm.
You can like play with the spectrum and like look at exteriors that you like, and it can change. It can be darker. It can be somewhere in the middle of the road. And I don't know. I think it can be more individual than people allow themselves to get.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
wouldn't that be fun if we were all just like our houses on the outside looked like what we look like on the insides?
Yeah. That'd be
Yeah.
wonderful.
That'd be
I
fun.
feel like that's yeah.
Suzanne's would be yellow.
Deep thoughts.
Mhm.
Can we talk about siding?
Yeah.
How do
Yeah.
we update siding? I mean, I have cedar shakes right now, and I'm repainting them, and super excited about it. I think a lot of people have hardy board today because they don't have to do the maintenance that I'm currently doing of
Mhm.
updating the cedar shake.
Pretty shingles.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just painting it is updating it, right?
Yeah,
You have thoughts on siding, Cori?
I do. I like hardy actually.
Mhm.
I don't like the vertical like board and batten though. I just feel like that is too crafty. It's had its time. It's done. If you're gonna redo your home and spend all that money on an exterior update, do not do it. Yeah, I feel like it's done. That train's gone. It
Mhm.
left a while ago.
Yeah. Can you define the board and batten for those
yes.
listening that might not know?
It is basically a hardy board that is a flat hardy board that's set butt jointed next to each other, and then they put that little like 3-inch
Vertical board.
vertical board that's basically supposed to cover up that
To hide the
seam.
seam.
I feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
but I feel like they're spaced quite a bit away from each other. Are they like a foot or 18 inches?
You
Like-
get to choose.
Oh,
Yeah,
fun.
I mean, I think there's probably 24 inches or something like that.
Yeah.
Again, just like the rhythm of it is just hard to look at. It's not appealing. Like, and then everything on your home is doing this. And you're just like, whoa, okay.
Vertical channels on the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we like a horizontal.
I do like hardy. I prefer the lap siding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Way more traditional. I feel like that's way more timeless.
Totally.
That's the route to go, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. And painting this is perfectly normal to do this, and your updates. Just choosing that palette. Do you want to give the people a few favorite colors that we just gave this gated community?
Yeah, we're going to post them here because I don't have them on me right now.
Yeah.
But we're going to post them.
Yes.
On the show notes. Is the show notes still a thing? We're going to put it on the YouTube. We're on YouTube. Shoot, we're going to show you some of those colors.
We're going to put it everywhere.
Yes, everywhere.
Yeah, we're going to.
But you know what?
And we're going to put it on the email too.
Yeah. And you know, we went to this meeting with a ton of options. And then we looked at it with the stone, and about 50% of them went to the wayside because they pulled a weird color in that community. And so you're really going to want, and they're a lot deeper. They're a lot darker because you have the sun. So even though you think you want a light house, you're going to pull light colors, they're going to be too light. So you're going to want to be like, I know that like for a brick home that we did here in Holiday, we did it around the baby fawn, and it was beautiful, and it looks white, but when you look at it inside with extra white paper, you're like, that's not white.
Yeah.
Not at all, but it's a beautiful color, and it feels a lot more softer and curated than a bright white. So
I think our entire showroom is painted baby fawn on the interior with white trim.
we're fans.
Yeah.
And it's just the most natural shade. It's not too gray. It's not
Lovely.
too taupe. It's just this nice mix of, gets along with everything. All the furniture looks great with it. It makes a
It looks
really
awesome.
beautiful exterior.
Yeah, it's
That's by Ben Moore.
When I saw the palette that you had together for this, that's what I thought. It was like everything looks natural. It looks organic.
That's the look.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks organic.
And then, it doesn't, when I see a home that's like optic white, I'm like, it's hurting my retina right now, you know? But it just doesn't feel real.
So real.
Yeah.
It feels like AI.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think this community, again, like they're kind of rooted, like they wanted to feel European. And so even where they were still wasn't where the trend was at that point either.
Yeah.
When it was started. So I respect the fact that they're just like, no, we really want to just like bring it back to like this like European foundation where it feels like natural, beautiful hues, not brown, not muddy, but just like natural hues that like don't hurt your eyeballs.
Yeah.
Love that. Last point we want to make, that if you have something you don't like Suzanne does not like her house, but she loves her tree. You can cover it up with great landscaping, right?
Yeah.
Landscaping can hide a lot of things by getting a really talented landscape engineer and just hiding the few things that you don't love, and they can become heroic with the linden tree, right, Sue?
Yeah, the linden tree. Or even like we installed this other home in St. George last week, and there were some like things on the exterior that were not my favorite. When I visited the house in January of this year, like I was just like, that's abrasive. But when I went for the install last week, they had full landscaping, like mature landscaping.
They brought in full mature magnolia trees and palm trees.
Like everything that my eye saw before, it disappeared because everything, like it just blended.
Softened. It was natural.
You want to know what something that was so crazy was the plaster. We had the whole interior of that home plastered. Husband did that for a living.
All the interior walls?
Pretty
Wow,
much all of them.
Awesome.
And it was like looking yellow because it was in St. George, and you have all that red reflecting off the window. They put grass in. It totally neutralized. The plaster looked awesome. So it's crazy what
the power of landscaping
does, like through your windows and reflects onto your walls. It's nuts. It changed the entire. They thought they were gonna have to replaster possibly. At one point, they're like, "Why does it look so yellow?" And I'm like, "I have no idea. Like, we've tested this color. It's an awesome color. I have no idea why it looks yellow, but it was due to the damn red sand, reflecting through the window." And so again, the power of landscaping is so huge. Like you can I think fix a lot of sins with good landscaping. And the color green fixes all, y'all.
So true.
It's so true.
Yeah.
So.
Also something so beautiful to look at out windows. And I know that's something that great landscape architects consider is like, what is the vantage point from this big living room window? And let's make sure, or out your bedroom window, let's put this series of trees that will also make a natural fence for you. They absorb sound from the road. It does so much to really soften and bring architecture to, otherwise flat ground or really accentuate the arcuations, the hills, whatever you have going on. It just becomes a song with the right landscaping.
So beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that. Guys, I hope that this conversation has helped you. Think of ideas on how to refresh your exteriors besides just painting everything white. And we wanted to remind you about our complimentary home furnishing design team. This is your chance to work with one of our talented designers and create a personal and custom space for you with furnishings. And it's totally free. And if you guys want to get started, just go to alicelanehome.com and get started. Also, it would be helpful for us actually to hear from you. So if you love the podcast, leave a review or a 5-star rating. We would love to hear from you, and we like to read every comment and appreciate your support and feedback. Thanks so much for listening, and we will catch you next time. Hey, thanks for listening. If you like our show, please leave a 5-star rating.